Hi Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing great, Margaret. I'm sorry for the delay.
Why you're so late? I waited almost 15 minutes.
Actually, I was preparing my notes for tomorrow presentation. You know, right, it's my turn. Now only I'm relaxed after so many hours and days.
That sounds good, Kevin. Why not you present your task now? Maybe I can have look before everyone.
Sure, let's we go to computer room. I will show my presentation.
That's great, man. You did research about satellites. Let me ask you few questions.
Please go ahead.
Explain me what is satellite?
A satellite is basically a self-contained communication system with the ability to receive signals from Earth and to retransmit those signals back with the use of a transponder, an integrated receiver and transmitter of radio signals.
What is satellites? The types of satellite.
There are two different types of satellites, natural and man-made. Examples of natural satellites are the Earth and Moon. The Earth rotates around the Sun and the Moon rotates around the Earth. A man-made satellite is a machine that is launched into space and orbits around a body in space.
Explain me what a satellite's used for.
Satellites are man-made objects put into orbit. They often affect our lives without our realizing it. They make us safer, provide modern conveniences, and broadcast entertainment. Here are some of the jobs satellites do. Satellites send television signals directly to homes, but they also are the backbone of cable and network TV. These satellites send signals from a central station that generates programming to smaller stations that send the signals locally via cables or the airwaves. At the scene, news broadcasts, whether live reporting on a vote at the Capitol or from the scene of a traffic accident, are sent from the field to the studio via satellite, too.
That sounds interesting.
Climate and environmental monitoring satellites are some of the best sources of data for climate change research. Satellites monitor ocean temperatures and prevailing currents. Data acquired by satellite-borne radars were able to show sea levels have been rising by 3 mm a year over the last decade. Imaging satellites can measure the changing sizes of glaciers, which is difficult to do from the ground due to the remoteness and darkness of the polar regions. Satellites can determine long-term patterns of rainfall, vegetation cover, and emissions of greenhouse gases.
Can you explain me about land stewardship, please?
Land stewardship satellites can detect underground water and mineral sources, monitor the transfer of nutrients and contaminants from land into waterways, and measure land and water temperatures, the growth of algae in seas, and the erosion of topsoil from land. They can efficiently monitor large-scale infrastructure, for example fuel pipelines that need to be checked for leaks, which would require enormous hours of land or air-based inspection. Imaging satellites produce high-resolution data of almost the entire landmass on Earth. Such data used to be a closely guarded military capability, but now, nearly anyone with an internet connection can find his house using Google Earth.
Well, that sounds great. We have been so dependent on satellites. There is so much of importance of satellites in human life. Thanks, Kevin.
You're welcome, Margaret.